I'm back, as I promised. This is part two right, of how our ancestors uh, got the citizenship and the continuation of this history. Okay, let's see. Federal jurisdiction. The ultimate step to citizenship required federal intervention, superseding state laws, because the white Supreme would not respect the law of the federal government. They had to be made to do this, or they went to jail. Okay? The 14th Amendment required all states to uphold the citizenship and rights of formerly enslaved people. But still, did they? Or was there a loophole for them? Okay. The motivation for enslavement and emancipation. Why enslavement? Enslavement provided a massive, permanent, and easily exploited labor force to cultivate, to cultivate cash crops like tobacco and cotton, fueling the nation's, white nation's, early economic expansion. Not our ancestors, only for the white. Why citizenship? Following the Civil War, Republicans in Congress realized that without granting citizenship, loophole, da da da, and the right to vote, the 15th Amendment to formerly enslaved people, Southern states, okay, Southern states, wait a minute, mm-hmm. Such as Scott, okay, where, okay, 15th Amendment to formerly enslaved people, Southern states would regain unchecked political power. So now it's about power for them. They needed to secure civil liberties and federal supremacy over human rights. So, see, loophole. Key figures and groups, enslaved and free people of color individuals like Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, and Sojourner Truth were instrumental in fighting for their own liberation and advocating for equal constitutional rights. Now, could any of you do that. Back then, yeah, I'm stubborn. My father was too, very tenacious. He would have been part of this history, okay, as he still was. I'll explain to you all about how he was and is still part of history. So am I, and I'll explain that too. Uh, we're very tenacious people, him and I. Okay, okay, Dred Scott, an enslaved Missouri man whose lawsuit for freedom resulted in the Supreme Court's defining 1857 ruling. Why they had to do that is the law above white supremacists. Do that? Do they look at it that way? I think so. Okay. The promise of Reconstruction, 1865 and 1877. Federal protections briefly allowed Africans to vote, hold office, and reunite families. The Jim Crow era, late 1800s to 1960s, Southern states circumvented the 14th and 15th Amendments, the loophole, like I was explaining, by passing discriminatory laws, poll taxes, literacy tests, and segregation loopholes for the white people that stripped people of color of their civic power. The Civil Rights Movement, 1950s to 1960s, led by activists and organizations. This era forced the federal government to enforce the 14th Amendment and ensure equal citizenship through the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and Voting Rights Act of 1965. Now, the present day and the winds of change, I might have to do the winds of change because I'm running out of time as the part three. Okay. Present day, the descendants of slaves continue to advocate for full equality. Yes, we're not equal. The 10 percenters that run this country or whatever, they don't consider us to still have the equal rights. And we should need, we should not trust the government. Okay. Advocate for full equality, economic parity, and an end to systemic discrimination in modern America. The discrimination is still going on. I don't care who you are, a movie star, a singer, actress, whatever. The 10%ers still look at you the same way they look at me and my ancestors. It doesn't matter how much money you have. They are racist and they don't want us here, but they did need us in the 1600s, and they still needed us afterwards. So do not do not make yourself so proud that you think that you are equal of these racist 10%ers that started this mess. Because to them, you're the same. And the poor white people do not think you are better than us because the 10%ers that run this country do not consider you any better than the people of color either. So now I'm running over, so I will continue this with part three, the winds of change, and the explanation and the predictions. So continue with this in a few minutes, as I promised. So stay tuned for part three.